What's up, guys? Got the whole crew back together, clean pocket, back in action, talking football today. We're gonna dive into some teams in the NFC, talk about ball.
Every D-line that he's gonna face in the NFC has some dogs on it.
When I watch Dak, I think he's the most underwhelming player in the NFL.
Team success becomes more important than your personal success. That's the ultimate goal.
NFC East, great division. Loved playing it most of my career there. Jay coached in it, you played in it a bunch, right? The Washington Commanders, new look. Dan Quinn, the head coach, Kliff Kingsbury, calling plays on offense. Shout out Kliff, right? When I look at this team, I think of weapons galore, right? You know, you got a young quarterback, Jayden Daniels, but you got Scary Terry, you got Dotson, you got Crowder, you got McCaffrey, you got a couple of good tight ends, Ertz. They drafted Sanote, however you say it, right? Like, added a couple pieces on the offensive line. I mean, we know Kliff likes to dial it up. I think it's going to be a good year for Jayden Daniels and the Commanders.
He's got all the talent in the world. I mean, you go second overall, he's going to be playing early. It's his team. He's probably going to get all the reps from day one. They made a bunch of moves on the offensive line. I love what Dan Quinn is going to bring to that group. I love Kliff Kingsbury. I love the way that he dials it up. Funny story, Pugh and I were asking him something about how to block something up. He's like, I don't know, I just get guys open. So that's his mentality. He's going to get guys open down the field. Jayden's going to have a ton of options to get the ball down the field. Loved the center addition in Biotish from Dallas. I was a big fan of him as a player. So I'm a big fan of what they're able to do. If they can put together a defense, I think they have all the talent in the world on offense. They just got to put it all together.
I love their interior D-line. Played against them last year. Jonathan Allen is one of the sleeper best, I mean, not a sleeper. I know you were going to chirp in as soon as I said something.
Good
Jonathan
player.
Allen is one of the best, probably, he might be the best defensive tackle in football right now. Every down, the guy's unblockable at times. There's a little fear here with some age at certain positions. Austin Ekeler, what does he have in the tank? Brian Robinson runs hard, love that. Jayden Daniels, we saw clips of him in college where he is not scared to lower the shoulder and take on some hits. That makes me a little bit nervous. Is he going to make it through the entire season? We saw Anthony Richardson last year deal with some of that. Jayden's going to have to learn when to get down.
Yeah.
Kliff's going to have him back there. Guys are going to be running wide ass open. I'm a little nervous about the health of some of the guys on offense.
I wouldn't say wide ass open. I've watched Kliff's offenses, and I really have never seen anybody run wide ass open. And if you don't know protections, we got an issue. We have to protect this guy. So hopefully Kliff has done some work in the offseason on how to protect the quarterback, because that's going to be paramount. What they've done, I've always said they've been weak in the tight end room. So they went out and drafted Snot in the second round, and they got Zach Ertz, who's a veteran guy, knows how to play the position. They were really weak at center. They went out and got badass. What's his name?
Biotish.
I never know how to pronounce that name.
Biotish.
They addressed the guards.
Biotish.
They went out and got McCaffrey's little brother, another good receiver option for him. They got two good backs, and Ekeler, who's a really good option out of the backfield. The key is going to be Jayden, right? How many rookie quarterbacks can take a team that's been a lower 4-13 team and make them into a competitive division winner? Can he do it this year? I really doubt it with the holes they have on defense. They've drafted poorly the last couple of years. So this is going to be a huge year for Jayden's confidence moving forward. Dan Quinn to get his culture established so he can get the right pieces in there. You got Armstrong from Dallas, so he's going to try to get the right pieces in there, the right leadership type guys.
Bobby Wagner, yeah.
Bobby Wagner brought in here as a great leader for them. So those are the type of guys you need to bring in here and then continue to do that in the draft in the next coming years. Watch Jayden develop, but Kliff has got to do a good job, man, of getting this guy ready to play and protecting him. We don't want to just send guys running high corners and high crosses and what's the protection? I don't know. Watch him run around and scramble and get his head beat in.
Yeah.
I want him protected. I want balls coming out of his hands quicker. I want him outside the pocket on some bootlegs, some max protection, play action shot plays. I don't want a whole lot of empties where guys are coming free off the edge and him getting his head busted. So hopefully they'll do that for him. Hopefully their defense gets better, and that's where I think Dan Quinn, but he's got to do a better job because they had the worst rushing defense I've ever seen at Dallas last year. So hopefully
Especially
he's fixed
late.
out.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he understands we can't have 205-pound linebackers playing there. Hopefully they got Bobby Wagner, which will help. So they had a lot of holes. They've worked on filling the major holes: quarterback, offensive line, interior, tight end, corner. They really need help. So they're moving in the right direction. I'm excited to watch Jayden Daniels play. The biggest wild card in the draft is a starter. He can either be one of the most exciting players we've ever seen, or we'll be like, he's not ready for prime time yet. So
Yeah.
it's
And the
one
NFC
extreme
East,
or the other.
it's a lot of prime time.
A lot of good defenses in the
prime time.
NFC East, too. A lot of good defenses. Every D-line that he's going to face in the NFC East has some dogs on it. And this is one of those teams, too, that had one of the worst rated ownership groups and now has one of the better ownership groups. We talked about it last night. One of those private equity Wall Street groups come in and starts making some changes. So maybe we're going to see the more business-oriented Washington Commanders as we move forward.
All right, Jayden Daniels, higher or lower, 3,100 pass yards?
I look at this season with the Commanders and look at the first year with Kyler. He's going to put up some stats. He's going to go higher on those numbers.
I'll go higher on that as well. Jay brought up a great point. I do think they have to hammer in on the protections because we played in that system, and a lot of times he thinks he can get it with tempo.
Yep.
And then you don't know who you're blocking, and especially the quarterback doesn't know he's blocking. So he definitely needs to hammer those protections and make sure that's shored up. And if that happens, then we can see this kid air the ball out.
Higher or lower, 500 rushing yards?
I'm going way higher than that. I think it's going to be closer to 1,000, I think. Not with the quarterback design runs. I think the quarterback design runs will be more of quarterback drawish type things, not the quarterback powers and the things that Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts can do. I don't want him doing that.
Yeah, right.
But the zone reads, and then when he drops back to pass, he's not sure. He sees guys running wide open, but he doesn't see him because he gets guys wide open all the time. But then he'll take it down and run because you can't play. It's hard to play quarters coverage because you got to match everything underneath. If they do that and you got eyeballs not on the quarterback, he's gone. You can't play two-man. That's out of the question. If you play two-man, he's gone.
Yeah.
And there's some of these fire zones where people have to carry vertical seams and linebackers are leaving. He's gone. So I think from a drop-back, he's going to get a lot of yards rushing from a drop-back scramble type situation. They'll be down a little bit, so they'll be throwing a lot and scramble.
America's team, Dallas Cowboys. What are the Cowboys doing this offseason?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones talking about being all in, hasn't extended Dak, hasn't extended Micah, hasn't extended ceedee. The running back room, do we know who the running back is for the Cowboys? They're all in, but they're not. The Cowboys expect the Cowboys expect everyone to take a pay cut because they're the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They have talent, don't get me wrong. All those players are going to be there, they're going to be playing, they're talented. But how far can you go when you're pissing everyone off? Tyron Smith walks out the door. Zach Martin's getting a little bit older. We just talked about Biotis walking out of the building. Who fills in these holes? Just because you're the Cowboys, you're not just going to have talent everywhere.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of scratching their head, right? Dak's going into last year, Micah Parsons going into his last year, CeeDee Lamb. It's not like these guys aren't going to ask for top money at their positions, right? They're going to be the highest paid players at their position, likely. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they've got their three best players kind of in that time right now, I don't know what they're going to do.
You can't surround them with talent. You have Dak has a massive cap hit. How can you put talent around him? They have to prorate that deal out and get him signed if they want to have any chance of competing this year.
And listen, when we talk about Dak, you can speak more on this, but in my opinion, when I watch Dak, I think he's the most underwhelming player in the NFL. I think he puts up a good game here for a 3-game stretch, and then when it always matters, he can't win the playoff game. He always has a lull stretch where it's like, what is going on? What is he doing, right? And that was behind arguably the best offensive line in football. You lost 2 or 3 major pieces. You might be moving a guard who's one of the best guards in football into center. They're in another, interesting situation with that. And, defensively, they lose their coordinator, and who knows where they're going to be on defense. And like Jay said, I mean, they were Swiss cheese at the end of the year. So they got a lot of questions they need answered, and they got to answer them quick.
Yeah, they lose the coordinator, hire Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is an attack style guy. Loves quarters, loves 3J, loves what he does, and then on third down, double A's, he'll blitz the shit out of you. That's just the way he is. His issue is, can he stop the run? They couldn't stop the run last year. Mike Zimmer's always been, we're not going to give up the big play on first, second down. I'm trying to get you to third down, then I'm coming after you.
Yeah, double A's, yeah.
You're going to have to stop the running game. But Dak is the guy that, if you have him on fantasy, he's either going to get you 40 points or -4. I mean, it's the damnest thing I've ever seen. They were third in the league in passing offense last year, so they're obviously very talented.
Yeah.
They can put the ball up. Mike McCarthy loves to throw it. You got rid of Kellen Moore a year ago because he wanted to be more balanced, but they still threw it more than they ran it, way more than they ran it. So Rico's going to have to make some plays. They go out and sign Zeke Elliott. The running game's got to take shape a little bit better for this team to be more competitive. Dak just seems to make critical mistakes at critical times often in his career, and that's got to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, playoff game, 2 critical interceptions against Green Bay. One of them was on a simple play that he should have seen. I mean, it was a little under route with a little corner behind it. He threw it right to the corner. Jair Alexander picked it off. I mean, that's an easy vision type play.
Yeah.
No, yes.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. He's got to eliminate those. He's too good to do that. And he has just too many head-scratching type plays throughout the course of a game and a season. And maybe that's why they're holding off on this 20% of the cap a little bit. But he's also proven in his time in the NFL that he's a starting quarterback.
For sure.
Right? So it's if you're the Cowboy organization, I don't really want to lose this guy. I don't really want to pay him this much either. I'd rather pay Micah. I'd love to keep CD. But I think they'll find a way to keep all 3 of those guys personally, because those 3 guys are too important to this team moving forward. That's probably why they didn't sign a lot of free agents. They're trying to just figure out ways to keep those 3 guys on the football team. They get Diggs back. They get Bland back to corner. So these guys are talented on defense with some skill guys. They just got to shore up their toughness on the interior on defense, and I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. And likely going to play 2 rookie linemen, right?
100%.
Drafted BB, the guard, played a lot of football, good player. Tyler Guyton, right? Tackle.
Tyler Smith will stay at tackle, right?
Now, Tyler Smith will stay at left guard. If they move him to anywhere but left guard, it's a mistake.
Right.
Well, they drafted the tackle. They got him. They got Hoffman at center.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about the running backs, but like really they got to shore it up front. They got to figure out what the best 5 is and where everybody's going to be playing.
The one thing the Cowboys have always drafted well.
Yeah.
They've always drafted well, so I have confidence that they know what they're getting in those 2 offensive linemen. But is there a more pressure-packed position than the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys? That's why I think it's always the regular season. The Cowboys always look great. The pressure comes down, the playoff games, late in the season trying to make that playoff push. You could see all the assholes tighten up in that game against the Green Bay Packers. Now all of a sudden he's sailing the ball, he's putting in the dirt, he's making those bad reads.
I'll tell you why, because Green Bay came out and punched him right in the face.
Yeah.
Jordan Love looked like, man.
Yeah.
And it was 14-0 before that. All of a sudden, you had a tight ass to begin with. Now you could, phew.
They never stood a chance. They never stood a chance in that game.
Yeah. All right, Dak, higher or lower? 4,200 pass yards.
Higher.
Higher.
Who are they going to hand the ball off to?
Yeah. Well, outside of
It's
CeeDee
all
Lamb,
on Dak.
right?
Brandon Cooks made some
Jake
plays
Ferguson.
last year. Jake
Brandon
Ferguson.
Jake Ferguson came a long way. Like, where do you rank CeeDee Lamb? Like, top 5 receiver?
1D.
That's top 10, top 12. Oh, I mean, he's good. There's
I
so
like
many.
him a
There's
lot.
a lot of good receivers.
He's one of those guys to me that can line up anywhere and be really good.
I love him
You can
after
put him
the
in the
catch,
slot.
too.
You can line him outside. He runs great routes.
Yeah, I think that's where he really takes off is when he gets the ball in his hands. He's a physical runner.
Yeah.
He's tough. They need a running back presence. I don't know if this Deuce Vaughn guy is going to really be the outside third down type guy. He's got some skill. But I think a lot of teams are moving away. I don't know why from these third down backs. Everybody wants, I mean, the running back position coming out of the backfield is really easy for the quarterback, and
You get them matched up on linebackers every
matched
time.
up on linebackers, and some of these teams I'm looking around, who are they?
Yeah.
And who's it going to be for them? Hopefully it's Deuce Vaughn, but can he stand up in pass protection when they have a 6-man protection? I don't know.
New York Football Giants.
Big Blue.
Go Big Blue. Pugh, has Daniel Jones gotten a fair shake as a starting quarterback?
It's been tough. Last year he had dealt with injuries. The offensive line struggled. There was injuries. You're the best player on the team, Andrew Thomas, your left tackle. Maybe not best player. Dexter Lawrence is there, but one of your best players gets hurt early in the season, pulls a hamstring. New York's another tough place to play. They needed to go out and address the receiver position. They did that in the draft. Malik Nabers, I think you guys had him as your number 1 ranked receiver, and they addressed the offensive line. They brought in John Runyon Jr., great player, paid him. Jermaine Illuminor brought him in. He's playing right guard. He may end up playing right tackle. You have Evan Neal. That's the biggest question mark on the O-line. John Michael Schmitz playing center, had a good rookie year. Has a little ways to go, but it was, we were down in every single game. They don't have a 270-pound left guard anymore.
You want to give him your number?
He's got it.
Okay.
They went out and traded for Brian Burns, premier pass rusher,
that's a
Kayvon
great
Thibodeau.
addition. Yeah.
Bobby Okereke at linebacker is one of the best captains of a defense. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. No, Daniel Jones didn't have a fair shake. It is a make or break year for Daniel Jones right now.
Yep. Losing Saquon, but you added Nabers. You got Hyatt. You got Darius Slayton coming back. You got Hodges. Those guys have made some plays throughout their career.
I think Wan'Dale Robinson's done.
Wan'Dale Robinson.
He actually is emerge as a pretty damn good player, I think.
And they added Isaiah McKenzie from the Bills. Like they got some receivers who have a lot of different qualities in their game they'll be able to use.
Malik Nabers is a guy that I can't wait to watch him play.
Yeah.
You know, I evaluate a lot of receivers in my day. I gave him a pretty good grade.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm not wrong. So you better not screw it up, Malik. But he's awesome. And the one position that they have really struggled at over the last few years is wideout. They really need a game-breaking, true number one receiver, and this guy gives it to them. That'll make Wendell a lot better, Slayton a lot better. Running back, I'm a little concerned. You go from a hell of a player in Saquon, big physical guy that squats about 700 pounds, and Devin Singletary's a little guy.
Yeah.
You know, what's the wear and tear going to be like on him? They're going to have to find another running back, I think, to take a little pressure off Singletary. Who that will be, I do not know, but that's will be an issue. And then Daniel, what really made Daniel effective is his ability to run as well. And these injuries, will that take its toll and not make him the threat to run? Because he really is a legitimate threat when he ran the ball, right? Mm-hmm. So he still needs to have that part of his game to keep third downs alive, to keep drives alive. If he doesn't have that ability to run, I'm worried about his ability to be successful.
Yeah.
Comes down to the quarterback, period. I mean, that you opened up this whole dialogue with that, asking Pugh about him, and it comes down to him. Listen, they got pieces. They got pieces at receiver. They went out and addressed the offensive line. They got good defense, arguably one of the best D tackles, if not the biggest game wrecker at D tackle in the game right now.
He was hurting guys last year. The Jets, he went through both their starting centers. He's incredible out of the game. He's incredible. Insane.
Yep. And so they
Love
got
Big
pieces. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Great dude.
He's taken such a jump from his rookie year and second year to where he is now.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to the defensive line coach there. He's unbelievable.
Still comes down to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and we know this is a make or break year for DJ. He's coming off an ACL. I mean, he's going to be pushing it to be back ready to play week 1, right? But he does have some new weapons. I love Brian Daboll. Played for him my rookie year in Cleveland. Like, he sees the game. I think Daniel loves him. So I'm with you. I think it's
How many guys have you played for?
Big year for
every coach we've talked about.
for Daniel
played
Jones.
For him.
All the gurus.
Yeah.
All right,
Who's your favorite?
I'm looking at him.
Yeah.
Hey, higher, lower.
Sorry.
Higher, lower. Malik Nabers, 875 yards receiving.
I'll go higher. I just think, running back wise, I don't think they have the same talent that they had a year ago, and I think they're going to have to rely on the passing game, and they want to see what Daniel has, I think, so they're going to have to push it. Obviously, you spent a first rounder on him. They're going to try and get the ball to him.
Yeah.
Higher, no question.
Yeah, I think you got to call Slayton and Wendell and their other receivers and say, hey, sorry, we're going to throw all our perimeter screens to Malik Nabers, so work on your stalk blocking, please. Right? I'm going to go higher, too, because they're going to give him those plays, and obviously he could take a short gain, like we mentioned about Debo, into a long gain, just like that. So I'm really excited to see him after the catch, and hopefully Daboll can get him some opportunity balls, whether it's an under, a one-step stork, a release screen, whatever it might be, just to catch it, get him balls early so he can take it and really make some things happen. He's an exciting player.
And the last thing I'll talk about with the Giants, obviously having been there and dealing with the media, the Saquon drama last year kind of hung around the team. When is he going to get his contract done? When's it going to happen? I'm happy for the fresh start for the both of them. We'll get to Saquon and Philly and what he's going to do there, which I think is going to be unbelievable. But it was just time. The Giants clearly don't value the position as much as they maybe people think they should. And Saquon went out to the free market and was able to test that and get paid. So I think it was a clean break for the both of them. I think it's going to help the team. Hey, we're moving forward. We're heading in this different direction.
All right, moving on. Last team in the NFC East. A team that kind of started hot last year and just completely fell off the face of the earth towards the end of the year. Philadelphia Eagles. Big storylines in the NFL, losing Jason Kelsey, right? Gonna go work on Monday Night Football. He's got his podcast, unbelievable center, amazing career, right? Helped Jalen Hurts a bunch. Like, how big of a factor is it losing him? And like, what's the state of the Philadelphia Eagles right now?
I think it's a big loss losing Jason, but I don't think it's as big as most people are going to put into it. I think Jeff Stoutland's, besides Chris Furster, the second best offensive line coach, or
Stoutland,
1B.
you.
Might say 1B.
1B.
You like that?
Yeah, Jeff Stoutland's a great offensive line coach. He's been there forever, and he's kind of been the architect amongst that whole group who's been great for the last decade, really. One thing that they'll do is the left guard, Cam Jurgens. They drafted him to replace Kelsey eventually. He's getting his shot. If you watch Cam Jurgens center reps from preseason 2 years ago and didn't know it was him, it looks identical to Jason Kelce. Will he be the same player? He's got a long ways to go. There's no question about that. But he got some meaningful reps at guard last year, moves into center. They have a ton of talent. They obviously paid the quarterback. They love the quarterback. They get Saquon, which is huge. Now you get a little bit more dynamic throwing the ball to him, too, as well. They got so much talent. That receiver's as good as there is in the league. He's just quick and short burst. I mean, they got so much talent. Defensively is the question. They were Swiss cheese at the end of the year as well last year, so they got to get that thing going.
As O-linemen, you guys like or
We're getting after Philly week 17.
You guys like or dislike the tush push?
I don't mind. It's part of the game, right?
It's part of the game.
I think it's terrible for the offensive line, though.
That's what I'm saying. As an O-lineman,
I would hate it.
Yeah, I would hate it. I do hate it. We try to run it in Oakland in Las Vegas. Didn't go well for us. They figured it out. I think it's stupid. Do you really want to see the tush push all fucking day?
I'll bet you get. I mean, could you get down that low?
That's the one thing I can do.
Man, that's tough. That's a tough play for you guys.
tough.
But talking about Philly, you also lost Fletcher Cox on defense. You're starting to lose those leaders that kind of made Philly what they were. I'm a little bit nervous. There was that drama with A.J. Brown during the season last year. Him and Ertz arguing on the sideline. How he goes out and pays A.J. Brown, pays Devonta Smith. How they're able to keep all these guys. Howie's 1A GM in the NFL. Maybe John Lynch is 1B, Andrew Berry 1C. He's able to get all these talented players in the building. Paid Saquon $13 million a year, but they went out and dressed another position that they struggled with last year, cornerback.
Yeah, two of them.
Cooper DeJean, Quinn Mitchell. I think they're going to be improved there. But the defensive line, I'm starting to get nervous about it. When I got Bryce Huff, who I think is one of the best rushers, situational rushers in the NFL, but is Jordan Davis, that defensive tackle that we hoped he was, he hasn't really jumped off the screen. Jalen Carter is ascending. Aaron Donald status, won against him last year. That guy is unbelievable. He needs to play a lot more.
But they lose Reddick, which is huge. They lose us on Reddick, which is huge. You lose a 20-sack guy, it's huge.
I think Bryce Huff can be that guy. Playing against him last year,
and
he
you
is
lose
an
Fletcher
awesome
Cox.
player.
Let's not forget about him.
But I think Jalen Carter getting more reps actually helps. I was happy last year when Jalen Carter was off the field. He was the best defensive lineman on that team.
Huh. Another key addition they have is Kellen Moore.
Yep.
You know, he's been on, this will be his third team in 3 years. Dallas, Mike McCarthy wanted to trade from him. Obviously, the Chargers didn't work out too well. Now he's got an opportunity to establish himself as the offensive coordinator. Everybody hopes he'll be. He's going to have to do a better job. You can't worry about stats, right? You got to get the ball to your guy. And they signed Saquon Barkley for a reason. This is a physical offensive line. The tight ends can hold up. They got to come up with original ways to get him the ball. Jalen Hurts, he can still run the ball as well, so that's another 1-2 combination that's pretty nasty. We mentioned Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. This one is just as good with Jalen and Saquon Barkley. So that running game can be very, very creative. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith on the outside, they'll reap the benefits from that running game with some good single high safety looks. Jalen's got to hit them. They got to do a better job of protection. Last year, at the end of the year, the Tampa Bay game, it was a debacle. I've never seen a worse prepared offensive line quarterback going against the Todd Bowles defense.
Well, I would say this is a top 5 offensive line in the league.
Well, the guys are running free and just hitting him in the back of the head, and he has no
protections
idea.
go a lot into
So who we
receivers,
blaming?
quarterbacks,
Who's to
running
blame?
backs. I'm not blaming the offensive line. I'll tell you that right now.
But maybe they just weren't prepared. Maybe they never saw Todd Bowles go all out or blitz empty, which he does every single week.
Every season since he's ever been in the NFL.
Never seen that before from him, huh?
So anyway, but they have physical offensive line. They get back to their physical identity of football. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback design runs, Saquon Barkley, and then the play action shots, and let A.J. Brown, Devontae do their thing. And of course, Dallas Goedert's a hell of a tight end. So offensively, they should be fine. I think Kellen Moore have a lot of fun with this offense. A lot of things. Got a lot of ways they can go. They can go 2 tight end sets, 3 receiver sets. They can run the ball, zone reads, quarterback runs. Saquon Barkley out in the space in empty, throwing the ball, throwing them screens. So they got a lot of great options offensively. They just got to shore up the protection.
Yeah.
You made one point last night about if you were a receiver, and it was a great point. If you were a receiver and you weren't getting the ball in your hand, you were going to bitch. You were going to say something. You bring in Saquon Barkley. Is A.J. Brown going to get as many touches as he got last year or the year before? It's going to start to eat at those guys. Is A.J. Brown going to be happy when Saquon's getting the ball? First down, second down, on third down out of the flat. Is that going to cause some kind of issue amongst the team.
You're hoping that A.J. Brown got his contract, he'll be a little bit happier. And you're hoping that once you get your contract, you're a little satisfied. Now the team success becomes more important than your personal success. That's the ultimate goal of any coach, to bring in 53 guys where the team success is more important than your personal success. And that's not always the case, obviously, because financially you guys are trying to do your thing, get your money. But with adding a selfish guy or a selfless guy like Saquon, a great leader, I believe,
Great leader.
Unbelievable leader, I think he could have a positive impact on a lot of these guys that are teetering on the fence of being selfish or team guys. He'll make them into team guys.
Yeah. I think this season hinges on Hurts. How he plays, how he executes the offense, how much he picks up from Kellen Moore. Like, it's on him. They added Kenny Pickett, but higher or lower, 11 rush touchdowns for Jalen Hurts.
Higher. Every time they get to the 1 yard line, they're doing the tush push. It's just the cheat code.
I'm going to go lower because I don't think without Kelsey in the middle, I don't think they do it as much. And you also have Saquon back there, which is another 700-pound squatter that I think you hand it off more than you give your quarterback.
Maybe they get Saquon under center and run it with him.
That one's going to be a close one, man. That's going to come down to 9. He's going to have about 8 or 9 with about 3 games to go. Everybody's going to be, ooh. I'm going to go lower because of Saquon addition, like you said.